Hey, what's up you guys? Bloody Jacob here to bring you my weekly review.
Hey, what's up you guys? Bloody Jacob here, meeting my icon, Catherine Isabel here.
Across the streams of hopes and dreams where things are really not. Come along if you can. Come along if you dare.
Have a good one. Cheers, guys.
Side of your mind, but please realize you'll probably be surprised.
Hey, what's up you guys? Bloody Jacob here to bring you another horror movie review. This time we're going to be talking about the 2017 prequel movie called Leatherface, which, as I said, is a prequel and sort of preludes and leads into the original 70s Texas Chain Saw Massacre film. It was directed by Julien Maury, as well as Alexander Mastillo, and it stars Stephen Dorff, Vanessa Grass, Sam Strike, Finn Jones even makes an appearance in this, Jessica Madsen, I guess I don't need to read through the whole cast, Sam Coleman. But yeah, so this movie, has been in development for a little while, and it got a bit of a limited theatrical run, very limited theatrical run, as well as being released on video on demand, and it just came out on Blu-ray and DVD not too long ago. The Texas Chain Saw Massacre franchise I am a fan of. I do like most of the movies. It's not my favorite, slasher franchise or anything, but I do definitely enjoy a, TCM film from time to time for sure. And I do like Leatherface quite a bit. For me, my favorite slasher franchises are either Friday the 13th or Nightmare on Elm Street. After that, it's sort of between Texas Chain Saw Massacre and Halloween for me. You can kind of go either way with that. And like I said, I've liked most of the movies, apart from some of the original sequels I didn't think were very good. The original sequel, Texas Chain Saw Massacre 2 was okay, the third one, then Next Generation and all that all that shit I've hardly ever, looked into over the years. Or I've hardly ever given another look to over the years, I should say. But this one, I was kind of, I honestly wasn't very excited for it either. I did buy it on Blu-ray because I figured at the least it would be like a disposable, just a disposable sort of horror slasher, bloody flick, for me to, sit back and watch. But I'll say happily, I liked it a good amount more than I was expecting. I liked it, actually liked it quite a bit in the end. I had a good time with it, I had fun. It's kind of weird to say, but, I did have fun with this movie. I think it is far superior to most of the original sequels. And, as far as like canon goes, the only one it's really supposed to directly go into is the original film. But I've read some mixed things on it because apparently it goes in like chronological order of this one, then the original, and then Texas Chainsaw. Texas Chainsaw I thought was actually okay. I'd say it wasn't very well done all around, and some of the acting was pretty bad in that one. But I did sort of like how they decided to go with the Leatherface character in that one with Alexander Daddario's character. It made it a little bit different for me anyway. But I definitely think this is probably one of the best Texas Chainsaw Massacre type films we've ever gotten. Now, some will be a little bit disappointed because we don't see Leatherface throughout the whole thing with the chainsaw 24/7. But I had fun with it because we had like a cast of young delinquents and sort of psychopaths traveling together. So it kind of made for a fun sort of on the run movie with definitely different lead type of characters in a certain way. And throughout the movie, we see at the beginning of the movie that Jedediah, of course Sawyer, who eventually becomes Leatherface as a child, and he's sort of pushed to try and use a chainsaw and become functioning member of the Sawyer family right off the bat, but he doesn't. He hesitates and he can't do it. And then eventually, all of them he's taken away anyway, because of because Verna doesn't take very good care of him, if that wasn't obvious. So he's basically held at this mental institution for quite a few years until he grows into a teenager. About my age, I'm 21, but he's probably meant to be a little bit younger than that, I think. So we meet a few different characters in this one. Our sort of protagonist in the movie, I guess, is Lizzie. She's just sort of this innocent nurse working at the institution. She basically just gets held hostage, and she's kind of forced to travel along with them. Then we have Ike. He's basically this this aggressive jackass, really. He's a dick, and that's kind of it. Then you have Bud and Jackson. Bud, he's a pretty big kid. I think the actor actually, playing him, Sam Coleman, he might have. Just want to make sure I'm getting this right. Yep, he played actually Hodor as a kid on Game of Thrones, which is pretty cool. But the way we see Bud in the movie, Sam Coleman's character, the bigger kid at the institution, it almost seems like he's obviously going to be Leatherface when he's older, just because of his sort of his size and how he's not really very well spoken like right off the bat. He doesn't say a whole lot anyway. But I was wondering how they're going to do it, because I heard it's sort of like a guessing game which one of these kids actually becomes Leatherface eventually. And it wasn't like the greatest, most complex indecision or choice he could ever make, really, because it was really between either Bud or Jackson. Bud, because, like I said, he obviously looks like he could be Leatherface when he gets a little bit older. But Jackson, because, it'd be a pretty big development for him to go from, like, this actually somewhat sociable or smart or somewhat nice person who is trying to help the nurse, to just how far gone Leatherface actually is with his family. So, it would be almost expected for him to have a big swerve like that and have Jackson, actually be the one to become Jedediah, who is Jedediah Sawyer and becomes Leatherface. And that's what it ends up being, spoilers in the title, so don't kill me. At first I did kind of want it to be Bud, just because, Leatherface is generally a pretty bulky, kind of killer. So I thought it'd be weird if, I get Jackson going through some trauma, which would make sense, for what happens to his mind, but then I guess he just eats a lot, and he gets quite a bit bigger. I don't know. But, still, I think it was fairly good the way they went with it, and the movie went by pretty fast for me, too, so I think the pacing was actually pretty good. And the acting itself, all around, I thought was alright. There's no, like, mind-blowing performances, really. But I thought everyone was pretty good, fine. No one was, I don't think anyone was awful. There aren't any, like, really bad performances, like in Texas Chainsaw. We have this Texas Ranger. He just has, like, this grudge against the Sawyer family and sort of anyone who, basically any sort of criminal, really, because of what happened to his daughter, when the Sawyers were younger and everything. Jedediah, of course, had sort of an indirect hand in that. He sort of he got forced into a situation by his family to, lead the girl into this trap, but he didn't directly do it himself. It was Drayton, I believe. But so he has a grudge against him, so he's pursuing him as well. Like I already mentioned Ike, basically a douche. He's alright. Someone I did like, though, and among the regular cast, or the other characters anyway, is actually Jessica Madsen's Clarice. She's pretty much as they describe it here in her character description here. Let's see. Sorry, just kind of lost it. Yep. Basically, the screenplay writer, basically said an image of this little girl in pigtails burning down her house with her parents inside, and she plays that psychotic side perfectly. She's like a young, really demented and sort of just really insane and brutal, like almost Harley Quinn kind of character, really. And I actually liked her quite a bit. I think she's actually a little bit underutilized in the movie. I would have liked to have seen her have a little more time in the film. But it wasn't really a long movie either. It's hardly, I don't even know if it is an hour and a half. Almost exactly an hour and a half, roughly, give or take. Like I said, I did enjoy the pacing, but I thought it was, fast. I thought it was fast enough, and it kept my attention. And then what ends up happening is Bud is actually killed. He's eventually shot by, a cop. And that was, kind of sad to see, because, again, he's a young Hodor, so I felt bad. But also because, I think he did kind of fit the bill physically, just in terms of his appearance, and he does kill Ike a little bit before that. And he's actually on the cover, kind of on the cover of the movie. Not here, but they have this picture of Ike being dragged right there, which would kind of lead you to believe that's probably Leatherface on the case here, but no. And how he killed Ike was pretty awesome. Just doing that curb stomp on the tree stump, I thought was pretty cool. But they end up handling the whole Jackson being Jedediah Leatherface thing pretty well. Because the actor is able to do a pretty good job, once he kind of completely loses himself mentally. He ends up being shot, sort of through like this part of him, kind of explaining some of his deformity and scarring that we see in some of the films. Apparently that also takes out his vocal cords, so he doesn't say much. Because like I said, he was kind of well spoken at one point when he's talking to the nurse in the beginning of the film. Or he at least could seem like a normal person, put together sentences, and he seemed like a decent, kid, but of course being raised by the Sawyers and going through all this shit, definitely made sure it stayed a certain way. Then of course they eventually give him the chainsaw and a little, kind of guard to where as his wound heals. And of course he does so on a, face at the very end of the film too. And he basically makes a choice at the end. We knew there probably weren't going to be any survivors because, that's kind of a tradition. If it's a Texas Chain Saw prequel, no regular characters making out alive. They did in Texas Chain Saw Massacre at the beginning. They did in Texas Chain Saw. Well, except her, the Alexander Daddario's character. But anyway, you know what I mean. So Jedediah Jackson basically has a choice at the end of the film. The nurse tries to make him wrestle with his conscience a little bit, and he does. He sort of hesitates again, but she makes the mistake of saying "your crazy mother," and then he just decapitates her with a chainsaw. And it's still cool seeing him sort of dragging the chainsaw around, hearing that just iconic Leatherface running through the woods thing. So it was cool, and they had him finally snap and go into that mode. And he also just destroys the sheriff's torso with a chainsaw too, or the Texas Ranger, excuse me. Who's just corrupt and really just sick with the way he would use his power, even the way he ends up killing Claire Reese earlier in the movie. As bad of a person as she came across, there's even some pyrotechnic stuff she got into, which didn't really make it into the final film. Which is something she did to her parents or her family. But even someone like Clarice, when the Texas Ranger ends up shooting her in the head and just killing her and just sort of, pushing his fingers into her wound, you can tell, this guy is even worse than her in certain ways. I don't know. He says sorry to the nurse, towards the end, but it didn't really make up for it. So I liked it. It's different to see our sort of main female just get decapitated at the end, but we knew that kind of thing had to happen. Like I said, there's a decent amount of violence in this. I'm sure there are going to be people that complain that there wasn't enough with the chainsaw or something like that. But I enjoyed it. I enjoyed the characters, the different dynamic of them being on the run and stuff. It made for a different kind of movie, I think, than the usual. Just someone getting stuck around the house and then being chased. You know what I mean? So it wasn't just random characters being chased around. I like the different perspective and different start of it. Excuse me. So yeah, I was a little bit impressed, and it is fairly well shot. There's a lot of good lighting, I think, and some decent camera work as well. So I was surprised by that too. And yeah, obviously I bought it on Blu-ray, just to give it a look. I didn't think it'd be a complete waste of money. It's not the greatest movie in the world, but I think it's actually one of the best Texas Chain Saw Massacre films that they've done. Now I know Lionsgate, or I forget the studio's name here. Lionsgate and Millennium Films actually lost the rights to produce future Texas Chain Saw Massacre movies because of how long it took to get it in, the producing end of it and stuff like that. So yeah, it's kind of a bummer, because apparently they have the rights to make like 5 more films if they wanted to, and it's just kind of a weird mistake to make, with a studio like that, just to lose the rights because it took too long to get something going. It seems a little bit, I don't know. But we've been getting a lot of these movies lately, so I'm sure another studio will pick up the Texas Chain Saw Massacre rights at some point. We'll get more, but it is what it is. I actually like this one, and I'm giving it a B plus. Some people would freak out over me giving it a high rating, but I just enjoyed it that much, and I think it's probably my favorite Chainsaw Massacre films, honestly. I'm not even the biggest fan of the original, really. I'll have to do a video on that sometime. It has its merits for sure in its place in horror history, but I actually like the 2003 remake more, and I didn't mind the way they took the Leatherface character in Texas Chainsaw either. So I almost like the remake, Texas Chainsaw Massacre: The Beginning, and Texas Chainsaw more, as awful as that is for some people to hear me say. And Leatherface did a good job of separating itself, from all of them, I think. And I enjoyed it quite a bit. So yeah, follow me on Facebook, Twitter, subscribe. And again, my name is Bloody Jacob, okay? So I'm a horror channel, almost first and foremost, that and TV shows, kind of. So yeah, I'm gonna enjoy horror films, even random ones, more than general audience people will. And again, I like this one. I'm gonna stop making excuses. I liked it. Deal with it. So yeah, follow me on Facebook, Twitter, subscribe. I'll catch you guys next time. Peace.